Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Frame Live. My name is Dottie San Martin, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Over the last few weeks, we have been on this journey through the COVID-19 pandemic. We have had the opportunity to share challenges and success stories and best practices and just pull together as one to help one another through this very difficult time. And as we're starting to come out, things are starting to brighten up and we see light at the end of that tunnel. Many centers have already reopened, and we have many centers that will be reopening very soon. So despite all of that, it's still a bit scary. Not only do we have to look at the changed expectations of our customers, but we have to look at retraining our staff and abiding by new guidelines and doing business a little bit differently and getting our customers back in. And despite all of that, to become profitable once again. Today, our special guest is Reggie Frederick. Reggie is the owner of Chalet Bowl in Tacoma, Washington, and he has been passionate about bowling since he very first went bowling at the age of 8. And he obviously got bit by the bowling bug then, because fast forward 24 years later, he bowled at age 8 at North Proctor Bowl. And 24 years later, he and his late wife Nancy became owners of what is now Chalet Bowl. Reggie's been very active in bowling. He started working at a bowling center at a young age of 13, and he has been involved in bowling ever since. Reggie, welcome to Beyond the Frame Live.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, who would have known that in 1960, an 8-year-old kid would buy the bowling center in 1984. We just celebrated our 36th year, and one of my part-time jobs out of college, and then that helped me put myself through college, was at Chalet Bowl, and that was in 1971. So it's been quite the love affair. I also teach a bowling class for a liberal arts college, and one of the things I always tell the graduating seniors, although this year was virtual, the last few months, was I hope you can be blessed like I've been, because ever since I graduated from college 45 years ago, I have never not once said, I wish I wasn't doing this. I might not have been happy about, going into debt for the first 20 years. You save up and you max your credit cards out, and then you scramble hard January 1st and you try to get to May 1st, and then you go into debt again. But the last, 18 years has been much better. But, we do what we have to do.
Reggie, I have said so many times to so many people, bowling gets in your blood. And once you get it in your blood, it is just a passion, an overwhelming passion, and you can't think of your life being any different. And so I share that with you. You have had a number of different roles. You've been such a pillar in this industry as past president and a current board member for Washington State Bowling Proprietors Association. You have been on the Washington Hospitality Association board. You've been a three-time board member of BPAA. So you have been immersed into this business for many, many years, and you've seen many, many things, none which will even come close to comparing to what we're going through right now. And it's obvious that you have always had your finger on the pulse of bowling, in being a leader and going forward and making a difference in this industry. So I'd like to start off by asking you, first of all, your center is not open, right?
No, we've been closed since March the 16th, and we are in phase 3 of Washington State, which means it looks like we can open June the 22nd.
Okay.
For bowling. We could open the restaurant June 1 in phase 2, which we have frameworks tables, and we'll talk about, we've actually torn them all up. We're taking them off. They were put in 2003. And we're going to have a new floor laid down, and then we're going to be staggering them. They used to go, if you're looking at my hands, they used to go straight across. Now they're going to be staggered like this for social distancing.
Okay.
we can, we're talking about maybe 3 days a week, but that's up to Billy and Allison. Billy's my eldest. He'll be 40. He was almost 4 when we bought the bowling center. And they run the show. They are the managing partners. They own the majority of Chalet Bowl or Frederick Fund Incorporated. I own the building and land. So, what they get the final say. They may ask my opinion. If they don't, unless I see something I really don't like, I really don't say much anymore.
Awesome. Well, you are in a unique position now. I mean, you get to have input, but you also get to enjoy your time. But as I said, you are very influential. You're involved in a lot of different things that are going on in the bowling community. When you guys reopen, how do you see that reopening being there at Chalet Bowl? What are the differences that your customers are going to see?
So I've been told not to say a whole lot now that you've tagged me. I have like 2,500 followers, and a lot of them are our customers. So I'm kind of giving it mine. But
okay, so you want to kind of leave it as a surprise, am I right?
I will say physically, it's going to look a lot different inside.
Okay.
There'll be some surprises. We're doing a lot of color changes, painting, new flooring. Like I've already told you, the tables will be different. We're working on the bathrooms because one of the things that any business has is the big thing is touch points. Okay, pushing the bathroom door open, pulling it open when you want to leave. What are you going to do to mitigate that? Hand soap. We have the Cisco push. Well, we're going with swing your hand underneath and it comes out, trying to take away those things. So we're looking at that. Most everybody's putting up plexiglass. We're going to do the same thing, so that's going to look different. I smile a lot, and you can't see me smiling when I'm wearing a cloth mask.
You are so right about that, Reggie.
And for anybody that watched the Darlington NASCAR race last night.
Yes, I did. It was fantastic.
So when I think it was Denny Hamlin won, I forget, maybe I was wrong, but he had a skin tone mask with his teeth, and he was talking, just looked like he was smiling. I was going, how cool is that?
I'm on the search for that, just so you know, because I too watched that race with my husband, who's a big NASCAR fan, and we thought it was great. And it does, part of the greeting for a customer is that smile from our customers or from our staff. And when you have that, even though you can tell it by the tone of their voice or the look in their eyes, there's nothing that says it quite like seeing a big smile.
So you've got to use your eyes more now, I think. Yeah, and last night in our proprietor happy hour, we do a Zoom happy hour that could last anywhere from an hour to usually it's been 3 hours at times. But Joey Laspina came up with one last night, and they own centers in New York and then one in Florida. He said at their Munich meeting, they were talking about some of the centers, they have these little things you stick on your chest that says, I'm smiling underneath my mask, just kind of to break the ice. So,
yes.
So to get back to what you said, Chalet is going to look a lot different. We've bought discs that are social distancing, and we'll lay those out. And other than that, I don't want to say much more.
Okay.
Well, I will say one of the positive things, like reading your questions, is that so we were the first center, other than the beta centers in the country, to put in the edge machines, the pin spotters, back in 2011. And Billy has always been taking care of those, and he's just done major cleaning, changing oil, and he says that's a pain in the butt. In the front motors, there's 2 in each, so that's a 12-lane center. It's still 24, and you still got the back ones to do, but the machines look great. I'm going to start working at pulling off the ball return shrouds and just do a bunch of cleaning underneath there.
Maintenance.
I'm going to start doing that next week.
Okay.
So the center is, has already had a deep cleaning. It's given us time to, and again, you're spending money that's not coming in. you have to decide, okay, you're going to do it like the floor. We were going to do new floor. Well, it's the perfect time to do it. And many centers around the country are doing that right
Yes,
now.
and I have heard that. We always have so many projects that we put on our list that
Right.
have to wait because business is coming in and we don't want to disrupt that. So
Sure.
this has been an opportunity for a lot of people to
Right.
do some of those projects. So, Reggie, yesterday we had a fantastic webinar and we discussed with Lance at CDE Software about some challenges with leagues and how those challenges were being looked at and some possibilities of
Mhm.
how leagues could be handled when centers start to open back up. And it's that time of year when the fall leagues are ending and the summer leagues should be getting ready to start. How are you planning, or how are your leagues planning to handle? I would assume your fall leagues they've stopped, or are they?
Well, I'll tell you about it. So
Okay.
it started with me reaching out. So we oversee all of our leagues. We're the secretary. You're looking at the league coordinator, by the way,
Okay.
Chalet.
One of your hats, huh?
And well, so I'm supposed to be semi-retired, but I've been working more the last 2 months than I had per week the last 2 or 3 years. But I get up early, work out, I go in and do things, and then I come back and help at night. Help floor the
Mm-hmm.
league, just because we're busy and there's two people working. But it started like this. I got a hold of the president and the vice president. We had a Zoom meeting, and I said, okay, you have this many weeks left, which was basically 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we started talking through it, and I gave him some scenarios. But before that, I typed up a scenario sheet and sent it to Billy and Allison. And then I sent it to Chad Murphy with USBC, and he forwarded it along. And I believe it was Catherine got back to me and said, everything that you put in there is great. You might look at some tweaks. And so we discussed it. So our senior league decided they were done, and that's fine. We paid them off, sent out checks to everybody. And believe it or not, you wouldn't think this about the senior league.
Mm-hmm.
They donated back $900 to our bowling center. We never asked. They said any of our money that we had prepaid, any league money that we were to get, keep it. We appreciate what you do. So, the nice thing about a 12-lane center, we know everybody, we know what they do.
That's right.
We're family. So we're just blown away. But
right.
Then we've got 4 monetary leagues, and we went over things. So they all said, they said, okay, here are the things we want. And so we proposed, and I said, once we hear from the governor which phase we're in, then we're going to have a Zoom meeting with the team captains. So I sent out a notice, and I kind of said, okay, here's what we're looking at. So option 1 was 2 weeks, which would be position round championship. Option 2 was just 1 week. Option 3 was cancel league. They all virtually unanimously said we want to bowl the 2 weeks. And so leagues that were supposed to end mid to the 20th of April are going to get back bowling 2 months later in June. And then we have 3 bowling ball leagues, and I've contacted them, and we did a Zoom meeting all last week, and they all want to finish, and they have 2 weeks left.
And I'm sure for them it doesn't matter, if there has to be, modifications made to.
Well, and then that's the next step.
Abide by the restrictions.
So I'm sure you've seen that USBC came out with a couple of COVID things. One is that you could use isopropyl alcohol in the ball, which is great. But the big one is that you could bowl a league just staying on your 1 lane.
Yes.
So we have a 12-lane center, and other than the Friday Night League, which is 24 teams, because we put 2 up on a pair, we can do that with any Bowland, Conqueror, in our case, Best X system.
Sure.
We are going to stagger them. So if I'm bowling your team's going to be on lane 1, my team's going to be on lane 3. So half of the teams are going to bowl an early shift. The other half are going to come in and bowl the later shift, like a 2 hours difference. And we've made sure that the teams that are close in the position round are going to be on that second shift, because if there's a tie, we want to roll off. So we're going to go lanes 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. And then the next shift comes in and they're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So each group is on fresh oil. And that's how we're going to do it. And they're excited to bowl. And if we decide we're going to, in summer, we're going, we still want to bowl summer.
That's
well,
great.
As we talked earlier, normally our summer leagues are 14 weeks. I think we're going to be blessed if we get 4 to 6 weeks out of it. And
you have to start somewhere.
So as far as our league bowlers are concerned, they're excited to come. I get texts or emails every day. We can hardly wait. We want to get back in there. The unknown are the people who do public bowling. I just don't know what's going to happen.
But you know, Reggie, this is an opportunity for us to reach those people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of publicity going on right now. There's a lot of talk about, different businesses coming back online. And I think the exposure to bowling centers has never been better. I think that, we're getting a lot of coverage and, it's a matter of time, but I think it's important for us to really concentrate on the marketing that we're doing and continuing to get that message out to those bowlers, that aren't our customers yet. So I think that, our post-COVID messaging is going to be very important in our post-COVID marketing.
And even the COVID messaging now, I know you follow us, and on Allison did, bowling's, that's my daughter-in-law, and she co-does our Facebook page, and she did some graphics, said, we're in phase 3, and we can hardly wait for you to come in, and she boosted the post. And as of this morning, I think there were about 2,400 reaches on that. So
very nice.
By spending 10 or 12 bucks, and then we do the eBowl news, and that just went out. We told everybody we're in phase 3, and here's some links. We miss you. We're looking forward to having you coming in. So, we're blessed. We're in a center that you don't see. We are building next to building. We have no parking lot. It's street parking. There's an auxiliary lot behind us that's a Safeway lot that our people use a little bit, but they're out of there fairly quick. We have one daytime league, the nighttime league. Everybody parks wherever on the streets. And so we're pretty blessed. But I think the one conundrum we're going to see, or one facet of business, is that birthday parties and corporate events are going to be very slow, if we have any at all. By the end of the year, I'd be surprised, because look at your company. Okay, let's say the people back in Richmond, I don't know how many people were working there in Virginia, but let's say it's a couple hundred, and maybe they go somewhere to movie theater, for instance, and all the popcorn and stuff. Well, that stuff isn't going to happen, because the HR people or the CEOs or presidents of companies are, they're going to put the brakes on. And a lot of people are saying, big groups, I don't think we're going to do parties until there is proper testing or that silver bullet, whatever it is.
Well, and I think that, things are just going to be modified. We're going to have, the new norm is going to have to be, we're going to have to find that. We're going to have to find that happy place where customers do feel comfortable coming out in groups. And maybe we don't host the big corporate events. Maybe we hold smaller office parties going forward. But,
and those are going to be social distance. I mean, they're just going to have to be. And one of the things is, what's fun is that when you have a company party, Dottie, you just see the excitement. And how many times have you heard from someone who was bold, they go, God darn, I forgot how much fun this is.
That's right.
And they might be in their 50s or 60s or 40s, and they say, I haven't bowled in 10 years. And the first thing I tell them is ice and ibuprofen.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely,
they seem to have a great time, and we have corporate events that happen. So again, 12 Lane Center, we host about 40 holiday parties from Thanksgiving to the end of the year, and then another 10 in January. We just lost $20,000 in year-end school parties. That's a big hit because they're all in June. I still have one teacher who says, I'd like to figure something out to get these kids in here to do it. I said, Well, if you can get the school district to sign off on it, or if it's on your own time or something, we can figure a way out. But again, we're going to have to do social distancing, and you're looking at, fifth graders, and you know how they are, they're rambunctious, and
Yeah.
and that's just story at Chalet Bowl. It's that all over the country.
But Reggie, it is looking up, and as we chatted before going live, it's such an exciting time that we are getting to see these centers open back up and resume their passion as this is their life, and to be able to get back to that and to see the customers and the excitement of them coming through your doors again, it's so exciting.
Yep.
We first of all, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show, but
My pleasure.
the one thing that I always like to ask is, what do you want to say to those people that are watching today? What do you see good coming out of this situation, as despite how bad it is, and the hardships it's created for so many people? We like to find the silver lining in things, and wanted to see if you would be comfortable sharing what silver lining you see coming out of this.
Well, I guess on the staff end, because we haven't brought anybody back because we're not essential. Everybody's had a lot of time off. So I think as far as the staff is concerned, they're going to be chomping at the bit to get back in. And again, I can only speak for our guests. From what I've heard, they're excited about coming back. They can hardly wait to bowl. And the people are going to finish their fall leagues or / spring leagues. We want a bowl summer league. We're looking forward to it. I see a lot of people or just email with them, and they're excited. I was looking at Michael Ducat's bowling center. He opened maybe a week or two ago down in Florida. And I gave him a bad time. I said, because he had a line of people and they were spread out. I said, that's my demographic. They were all in their late 60s or older,
Yeah.
Well, he has a very heavy senior citizen clientele. Some people have had 10 people come in a day. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
Your beta tester, John Lucido, okay? 36 lane center. He's spending $4 million right now on a renovation. Timing sucks. But so he can open the restaurant and he can have 95 people. But once he turns to bowling, if I remember correctly,
yes, you're right.
He can only have 10. Now, how crazy is that? But, we wear many hats.
Yes, we do.
But we are, besides proprietors, think about, we're matchmakers. How many people have ended up being married that bowled in your house? We're counselors. We're divorce lawyers. Anything under the spectrum. Yes. If you have a tight community that comes to you, they don't forget that. And if you send thank you notes out and just for the littlest things, I think that's the big silver lining, that we have a core of people, not only our league players, but our public, and I call it public bowling. I know we call it open bowling, but when you say open bowling to the customers, but if you say public bowling, they get it. So our public bowlers, when they come in, they're excited. And I think there might be 3 different types of customers. You got your league bowlers, and they're dying to get in. You have people that do corporate events and stuff, and they'd like to come in. Then there's that middle group that's the unknown, and that's the one you want to get in. And yes, I think using social marketing, and if whatever you have, Instagram page, Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, I think people like to see what you're doing, or at least let them know, you're making changes and you miss them and you're looking forward to seeing them. And I think that our communities in the bowling business are going to be stronger for that. So I think that's the big take on the whole deal. Absolutely. And on proprietor end, for the past 2 months on Wednesday night, there's some of us that get on and we do a Zoom happy hour. We're all having a drink or two and everybody's eating dinner. I mean, we don't mind. And we're just sharing stories, personal things that are happening. Hang on for a minute. Billy's calling. I don't think he knows that. Either that or he's saying, shut up, Dad. I'll call him back. But it's really been, like I said, I've done like 70 Zooms, webinars, conference calls the last 2 months, become proficient. I've actually bought the Zoom where you can go longer.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think it's become important. But sharing with these people that are my peers, and I'm the oldest guy in the group. The youngest is 50. Everybody else is like in their 30s on up. But it's been fun talking to them and just sharing stories. Talking about PPPs. Are you gonna? I think in this next round that's gonna finally end, we're gonna get rid of that 75-25. But I could be wrong. That'll be a big deal. Did you get an idol? And how is that looking? And I believe the max you can get an idol now is $150,000. Right. So I know my credit was pulled, so I'm going to be getting a letter on the idol, and we got a PPP. So, and the other conundrum in any business is that you had better have cash saved up. So that's the one thing once we got to a solvent space, we started saving money. So we had a good chunk of change saved up. I call it a rainy day fund. Well, we're starting to use some of that rainy day.
It's been a long rainy day, yes.
And absolutely. By getting the PPP and getting an idol will help, because we don't know what's going to happen the rest of this year.
That's right. Well, Reggie, I do firmly believe that bowling will come back, and eventually. I mean, it's going to take a while for everybody to get back and to start coming back in, but I have no doubt that bowling has been around for years, and it's just a part of the fabric of America. And we
betcha. will. The one last thing I want to tell you is that, like I've already said about the happy hour, get out of your cocoon.
Yes.
Call people around the country. Get on the BPA social media page. The networking page is the one thing you really should be on, because we ask questions on there. Hey, who's open so far and what does it look like? And
that's right.
And these proprietors, we don't mind getting a phone call, an email, or direct messaging and start chatting with each other. You need to find out what's happening around the country, because even though the centers have opened early in Georgia, Florida, Kansas, Oklahoma, they're the guinea pigs right now. And
right. And
we should take advantage of learning from them. It's called research.
That's right. And that is this Beyond the Frame group has been such a great avenue for us to bring people together and do just what you were saying, is to share your experiences. And just want to mention a few of the other resources, Reggie, that we have. You had mentioned about using social media. Just want to remind our viewers that Cubica AMF has a reopening marketing kit that is now available. They can find that kit. It's got social media pieces. It's got email templates. It's just got so much wonderful information that's already ready for you to start using. A lot of things that can be used in center to get that message of confidence built with your customers. And that is available on the Cubica AMF resource page. So go look for that. Also, the Beyond the Frame, if you have people that would like to participate in that, we encourage you to do that, because there's so many wonderful resources on that group as well. And then coming up next Wednesday, we have a webinar planned that is going to be, the guests are going to be from the PR firm that BPAA has a relationship with. And they're going to focus on the marketing of the branding and the message that from a media preparedness standpoint of reopening. So make plans to watch that next Wednesday at 3 Eastern. And, just take advantage of all those resources that are just so beneficial through this time, and have really helped people to navigate these very uncertain times. Reggie, I cannot thank you enough. You have been
Always a pleasure.
guest. You've been a dear friend for many years to many people in this industry, and we appreciate you allowing us to hear your story of the impact that this has had on you and your center. We
Thank you.
know that bowling centers are really the glue that stick the community together, and we're confident that bowling is going to come back. And we're just so happy that you shared that message
Thank you.
today because it is a message of hope, and for that we appreciate it.
Not a problem. You know what sets us apart, Dottie, is
What's
that
that?
we're the only business that our league bowlers come back week after week after week after
All
week,
right.
and it could be 30 weeks. I have some people that bowl out of a possible 52 weeks in leagues. They bowl like 46 weeks. There is not one industry that has that.
You're right. I mean,
It goes to that one
very
center.
close-knit group of people.
Yep.
We have very loyal. It is a family. There's no other way of putting it, is that this is a big family. And what does family do? Family takes care of one another, and our customers are going to help us get back on our feet. I have no doubt in that. Next week, also on our show, we're going to have a couple of more proprietors. We're going to have Anthony Peroni. He's going to be sharing. He is actually opened back up, so he's going to kind of tell us about that experience and how that went for him. And then we also have Darren Van Tassel from Clubhouse that he's going to talk about reopening at his center. So we hope that you'll join us next week on Beyond the Frame Live. And until then, I wish everyone a very wonderful afternoon. Reggie, thank you again for being our guest.
My best to you and Joey.
Thank you so much, Reggie. And everyone have a great day and think beyond the frame.